In this week's video, come with me to explore one of my favourite areas of the whole world, mid-Wales. Let's unwind, relax, and of course, take in some history too. Hello, welcome to Through Lucy's Lens weekly videos where I go somewhere interesting and hopefully you will find them interesting too. It's been a couple of weeks, there's been a lot going on. I've been working a lot over the summer. That's why I've got a bit of a tan. That's about as tanned as I'm ever going to get. So I've been working outside a lot, but I am back on the road and I am so thrilled, and I am taking you to some of the most important places in my life, really. We are in mid-Wales today and I'm going to show you some of my favourite beaches, some of my favourite places, and you'll just get to enjoy the beauty with me too. So shall we go and have a little few days exploring this area together? Let's go. You need nerves of steel to get down to this cove in a car, let alone a big van, but I promise you it's worth it. The first place I want to take you on my little Welsh adventure is right here at Cwmtdyu Bay. This is one of my favourite beaches in the world. It's so special to me because when I was a child, we used to come here most holidays because we have family that lived in the surrounding area. This beach is stunning and wild and beautiful and still quite a hidden gem. It used to be used as a smuggler's cove. Ships would arrive with cargo of contraband salt and alcohol. Believe it or not, salt was very, very expensive and it was something that was highly taxed, therefore smuggled. Cwmtdyu Bay is also a natural harbour, so ships would come in with cargo of limestone. The limestone would be burnt in the beautifully restored limestone kilns that you can still see at the top of the beach, and it would be used in the surrounding farms as fertiliser. I think this place is magical, and although the day wasn't beautiful, I think the mist coming in off the sea just made it even more mystical. At certain times of the year, you can see a plethora of sea life here. There are dolphins and seals, and during the summer you have to be very careful because you can come across a baby seal just lounging on the rocks, living its life. Today, the beach is quite popular with walkers and nature lovers, but it's not at all commercial. On the day we visited, there wasn't even a shop open, so it's not the kind of place that you come if you want cafes and arcades. It's a true nature lover's paradise, and it's just the sort of place that makes me feel relaxed. You can access the West Wales coastal path from here, which runs all along the coast up to Aberystwyth. I have spent hours and hours of my life here in Cwmtdyu Bay, and it never feels any less special than the first time I remember seeing this dramatic cove as you come down the very steep path. To some people, the perfect beach is on a tropical island with sunshine, but for me, a misty Welsh beach at the beginning of autumn is just absolute perfection. The next place we are going is 4 miles up the coast, and it's another town really special to me, and it's Quay. Not to be confused by the surfer's paradise Quay in Cornwall, this Quay is where I spent pretty much every single holiday as a child. So let's go and have a look if it's still as lovely as I remember. Quay is a small but perfectly formed harbour town on Cwmtdyu Bay. On a clear day, the bay stretches out like a jewel, with dolphins playing offshore. In fact, Quay is one of the best places in the UK to spot bottlenose dolphins in their natural habitat. Sadly, today, I just had to enjoy the atmospheric mist. You can join a boat tour from the harbour, and if you're lucky, you can even catch seals and porpoises too. The town itself is a quaint collection of pastel-coloured cottages that cling to the rocks and narrow winding streets. You'll find a variety of local shops, art galleries and cafes. Each has its own unique character and are usually independently owned. It's a really relaxed place, and although it gets busy in the summer, it never feels touristy. If you visit out of season, you really do have the place to yourself. Newquay's history is of course closely tied to the sea. In the 19th century, it was a bustling port, famous for its shipbuilding and fishing industry. You can still see the remnants of this rich maritime past at the Newquay Heritage Centre, and also in the harbour itself. Newquay was also the home to the famous Welsh poet and playwright Dylan Thomas. Newquay is also home to the Dylan Thomas Trail, a tribute to the famous, renowned Welsh poet who lived here in the 1940s, and it's said he drew much of his inspiration from this very landscape. Dylan had a significant connection to Newquay, and the town played a significant role in his creative life. Dylan Thomas moved to Newquay in September 1944 during the final year of World War II. He moved there with his wife Caitlin and their young son Llewellyn. They lived in a small cottage called Majoda, perched on the cliffs overlooking Cwmtdyu Bay, which is about a mile outside the town. The Thomases stayed in Newquay for a little over a year, but this brief period was one of the most productive times in Dylan Thomas's writing career. The streets, buildings and people of Newquay are said to be the inspiration for many of the places and characters in his most famous play, Under Milk Wood. The Black Lion Hotel, where Dylan was known to spend time drinking and chatting with the locals, is often cited as a model for the Sailor's Arms in the play. The poem, A Refusal to Mourn the Death by Fire of a Child in London, another work from his time living in Newquay, showcases his profound reflections on life, death and the human condition. I understand that. When the weather is bad and the mist closes in, Newquay feels almost claustrophobic, like it's the only place on earth. And I can imagine for a creative person, it would be a beautiful but also frustrating place to live. We know how to pick the weather here, don't we, on this channel? Every time! I'm going to get a t-shirt that says, if it's not raining, I ain't coming. But it's still wonderful, and I spent most Easters and summers here in some sort of capacity. So Newquay will always have a special place in my heart, and although I haven't been able to show it you as lovely as I should have been able to because of the damn British weather, I hope you enjoyed coming along with me anyway. So next we are going to go up to Aberystwyth, which is just up the coast, another beautiful harbour town on the coast. And we're going to go tomorrow morning. I'm going to leave it here today. We're going to go tomorrow because apparently we might have some sunshine. So we'll see you tomorrow in Aberystwyth. Good morning. It is a new day. Just about to leave my little camping pod. Change of plan. So last night it pelted with rain all night. It was really lovely, you know, when you sleep and you can just hear the rain and it's really peaceful and quiet. And I thought I'm going to go to Aberystwyth, not Aberystwyth, and I'll tell you why, because I've never been to Aberystwyth, even though I've been in this area of the world so many times. When I was a child, we never went to Aberystwyth. We used to go to Newquay, Aberystwyth, Cwmtydu Bay. We'd sometimes go down to Cardigan, but we never went to Aberystwyth. So I'm on the road back to Birmingham today. It's a good 3.5 hours ride, probably longer in the van because it's not the fastest. So I'm going to go to Aberystwyth instead, and I'm going to take you with me because I've never been, and we can discover it together. And there's a castle, and there's a cliff railway, and there's a lovely promenade, and I think it'll be really nice to discover it together. So I'm going to pack all my stuff up, I'm going to get in the van, and let's go to Aberystwyth. So welcome to Aberystwyth. Aberystwyth is a historic coastal town located in West Wales. It's nestled between the Cambrian Mountains and the shores of Cwmtdyu Bay. It's known for its vibrant seaside atmosphere and Aberystwyth is also home to a thriving university, one of its most famous alumni being Prince Charles, now King Charles III, who learnt the Welsh language here in 1969. We're going to start at the Cliff Railway because I am always a sucker for an interesting method of transport, and if it comes with a view, even better. The Aberystwyth Cliff Railway is one of the town's most iconic attractions and is located on Constitution Hill at the northern end of Aberystwyth's promenade. Opened in 1896, it's the longest funicular electric cliff railway in Britain, running on a track that ascends almost 430 feet, that's 130 metres, from the base of the summit of Constitution Hill. The railway provides you with a unique and scenic journey, and I loved the breathtaking panoramic views of the town as you ascend. The two carriages are named Aberystwyth and Constitution, and they move in a counterbalanced fashion, making the journey to the top smooth and sustainable. I was really shocked how steep it was as you reached the top. Those Victorians really were marvellous engineers. The growth of Aberystwyth as a resort town accelerated with the arrival of the railway to the town in 1864. This connected it with major cities like London, Birmingham and Manchester, and the improved accessibility brought an influx of tourists, and soon the town expanded to accommodate them with entertainment such as this cliff railway. This railway was once the Victorian equivalent of a day at the theme park. You can only imagine how amazing this must have seemed to visitors then, and I really still loved it today. The view from the top of Constitution Hill really is breathtaking, and it was the perfect place to sit and enjoy a breakfast with a view. The cafe at the top is quite reasonably priced, and there's a wide variety to choose from. It's funny really, I was cursing paying to get up here because I couldn't walk up here even if I wanted to, and I'm so glad because it's sensational. From up here on the summit of Constitution Hill, on a clear day you can enjoy sweeping views of Aberystwyth and the crescent-shaped promenade. You can also see views that extend across Cwmtdyu Bay, reaching as far as the Llyn Peninsula to the north and the Pembrokeshire coast to the south. Looking inland, the hill provides a backdrop to the rolling Cambrian mountains, and if you're very lucky, you can see the peak of Mount Snowdon, the highest point in Wales, peeking out over the horizon. At the top of the hill there's also a camera obscura, which was really sadly closed because I really wanted to see that. But I did find this gorgeous model railway with donations going to the local RNLI lifeboats. Back at the bottom of Constitution Hill you will find the Victorian promenade. It stretches approximately 1.5 miles, which is around 2.4 kilometres, along the seafront. It runs from the base of Constitution Hill in the north to the harbour in the south, and it provides a really scenic walk that follows the curve of Cwmtdyu Bay. It's a flat and enjoyable stroll, and it feels old-fashioned and more authentically Victorian than a lot of the seaside resorts I've visited in the UK. You can also see Aberystwyth Pier. It's officially known as the Royal Pier. It's a historic landmark located on the seafront. Opened in 1865, it was the first pier to be built in Wales and originally stretched for 242 metres out into Cwmtdyu Bay. And sadly, I wasn't able to go and see inside as I had Rupert with me, and it's a no dogs allowed venue. Good to know if you're also travelling with your canine companion. To the south of the promenade, you will find Aberystwyth Castle. You're never far from a castle in Wales, with over 600 scattered within this beautiful country's boundaries. The large number of castles in Wales reflects its strategic importance and turbulent history during the medieval period, mostly from English kings trying to retain their stronghold in the country. Aberystwyth Castle played a significant role in the medieval history of the region. The castle's ruins are situated on a hill overlooking the town and Cwmtdyu Bay, providing a strategic view of the surrounding area. The castle was originally built by the English crown during the 13th century. It was part of the efforts by Edward I to control and subdue Wales following his conquest of the region. The castle was subjected to several sieges and attacks during its history. Notably, in 1287, the castle was besieged by Welsh forces led by Llewellyn Gruffydd. The Welsh captured the castle, but eventually lost it again to English forces. During the English Civil War, which took place between 1642 and 1651, Aberystwyth Castle was besieged and partially demolished by parliamentary forces. The castle's fortifications were intentionally damaged to prevent their use by royalist forces by Oliver Cromwell. This led to the ruins that we see today. The castle ruins are completely free to enter and always open. I loved how it was an enter at your own risk situation, allowing visitors to explore, climb and enjoy freely to soak up the atmosphere. More of this, please. The town of Aberystwyth itself is small but perfectly formed, with a mix of independent shops and chains, and there's a really nice chilled out atmosphere. There was loads of great charity shops, so I had a great time having a mooch for some vinyl records because I collect them, and finding new charity shops is always a bit of a highlight for me. I hope you enjoyed Aberystwyth. I thought it was lovely. Really enjoyed it, particularly going up the Cliff Railway because I am a sucker for a view. I'm on my way back to Birmingham now. It's a long drive, but I've took a detour because I can't resist. I have to take a detour everywhere I go, and I've always wanted to come here to Devil's Bridge. Now it's on the tourist trail for a lot of people, and I've driven past the sign so many times in my life and I've never come to see it. So today, little bonus, because you know at the end of every video I always drop in a bonus destination. You go and check out Devil's Bridge. I don't know much about it, I just know that there's waterfalls, everybody loves a waterfall, and famous bridges. Let's go and have a look. Devil's Bridge is a small village situated 12 miles from Aberystwyth in the heart of the Cambrian Mountains. It's been a famous tourist destination since the 18th century, and has been visited by the great and the good, such as William Wordsworth, who wrote about the torrent at Devil's Bridge. You'll hear that torrent later. But for today, it's just me who took a wander around the Punch Bowl walk. There's 2 walks you can do here. I chose the Punch Bowl as it has a mere 270 slate steps compared to the nearly 700 on the Waterfalls walk. There are 3 bridges, one built on top of the other. The first is medieval, constructed in the 11th century, and legend said it was built by the devil themselves, as it was simply too complicated for mere mortals to build. Please note, I use the term legend here. It was actually built by some very clever medieval builders, possibly monks. The second was built in 1753 and the top bridge to carry more modern traffic in 1901. The river that runs down into the Punch Bowl is the River Mynach, which translates to the Monk's River, and has carved an impressive bowl into the landscape over thousands of years. The river is a tributary of the River Rheidol that runs to the sea down at Aberystwyth. It's a magnificent feat of nature, and for a moment I felt as if I was in another world. There's a lovely hotel just outside of the Devil's Bridge Walk called the Hafford, and sitting on the canopy having a cup of tea, it felt like I was back in Indonesia for a moment. I quite expected a friendly monkey to jump over and steal a sugar cube. The power, if you can hear me, the power of nature. Oh my God. My knee is in agony. It's just taken me a long time to get down here. Is it worth it? I think it is worth it. Just to hear this noise and experience this power. I can see why a lot of people come here, and I'm glad I've made it here too. I chose the easiest of the two walks. Oh. And it's been a struggle. So if you come here, it's not an easy task, but I think it's worth it. Would I come again? My knee says no, you will not. So maybe once in a lifetime, or at least until I get my knee sorted. Thank you, as always, for coming along with me on this little 2-day adventure in mid-Wales. If you're still here, I'm just showing you where I stayed. It was just a really basic pod in a campsite near Aberystwyth and Quay. As always, thank you so much for being here. Do like this video and give me a little subscribe if you want to come with me on other adventures in the future. Until next time, see you later.